Hey everyone, welcome back to Williamson Ridge Outdoors. Today, I've got something that I'm pretty excited about. I have been wanting to get one of these for a very long time, and I finally just said, hey, you know what? I'm gonna search for one, I'm gonna find it, I'm gonna order it. I really don't have much of a knowledge on this or exactly what I needed, but I'm gonna kind of share with you today what I've learned in the process of trying to buy one of these. And what this is a hydraulic top link for our Kubota M6060. This is a Category 2 top link. One of the first things that I did learn, actually as soon as I opened the box up, is that I ordered a Category 2 to work on my Category 2 3-point hitch on my tractor, but I didn't realize that my Category 2 3-point hitch on the end where the top link pins to the tractor, it's actually a Category 1 where it pins on. So I am going to have to use a bushing in here. It's no big deal because I use a bushing all the time for some other stuff. So I actually already have the bushings anyways. So we'll just slide a bushing in here and then this will fit the pin on the tractor, which I'm kind of shocked about because I thought that, you know, having a Category 2 3-point hitch would mean everything was just Category 2. It's my fault for not really measuring everything. I just assumed Category 2 was Category 2. It may be a good idea, you know, that you would take some measurements and confirm, just in case you didn't want to have to use a bushing or something to kind of shim that up. So real quick, I want to go over just a couple things about this top link in particular and why I chose this. This actually came from agristourusa.com. And the reason I chose to go with them, one of the big reasons, is actually right here on the top of this cylinder. This actually has a double piloted check valve in it. And what that actually does is makes it to where that whenever you set this with your hydraulics and you set it to a certain length, it won't let it float either way. It'll hold that steady. So if you're using a box blade or a grater blade or something like that, and you set your angle on it and you start to drag it, then this thing will not let the hydraulic cylinder move. That check valve in there will hold it steady so that you can keep the same exact angle all the time. Now the threads in this, where your hydraulics go, are BSP, or British Standard Ports, or pipe, I believe it is, British Standard Pipe. This is kind of like their standard thing or whatever, but they do include adapters with this. Like if you don't get their hose kit, they'll put adapters in here to make this from BSP to MPT, or National Pipe Thread fittings, so that you can get, you know, your own hoses or whatever for it, or use it either setup that you want. Now in our case, I actually ended up ordering the hose kit with it, just because I didn't want to have to go out separate. You know, once I got the cylinder, I didn't want to have to go out to the store and then start trying to find hoses and all that kind of stuff to fit. I wanted to be able to just pull it out of the box, hook up the hoses, hook it up to the tractor, and I'm ready to roll. So this is what they send as the hose kit. It's actually got a banjo fitting here on one end with the BSP threaded fitting to match their cylinder. And then it's got a 90 down here on this end with the same top fitting and stuff on it. And then the one I ended up getting actually was the check valve style couplers. You can also get this in the ball coupler, but I don't know. I think my tractor seems to work just fine with either style of coupler. And if you don't know the difference in these, like these style, you can kind of see they have this more of a pointy top end on them. And then the ball style just has a big round ball on it. But anything I've plugged into my tractor has worked, and I've actually used both. And they were actually out of stock on the ball style. So I told them, I said, well, just send those because I think they'll actually work, so we'll be good with that. I've got a few things to do. I need to take our post hole digger off the tractor and then hook up our Befco sickle bar mower to the tractor, because my window for cutting hay is hopefully coming up this weekend. We are so far behind on our hay right now because I missed a window a few weeks ago, and then it's just rained and just can't get a break at all. So we're way behind on it. So I'm going to get the mower and everything hooked up, and I'm going to hook it up with this hydraulic top link in the hopes that this was going to have a lot more adjustability and stuff than just a standard top link, which is also another reason that I bought this and the size that I bought. And real quick about that, my factory top link goes from 19.5 inches to about 28 or 29 inches, I think it is, to its fully extended length. And that actually is just a little bit short for one implement that I have, and that's my 8-foot King Kutter grater blade. That blade has to sit so far back from the tractor that the top link to its full extended distance actually pitches the blade forward still a little bit and doesn't let the blade sit perfectly straight. So I got this to kind of extend that a little bit. So whenever I ordered this, I purposely got it a little bit longer than the factory top link. And this one goes out to 32 inches. So it's about 3 inches longer than what the factory one is, which should give us the extra distance that we need to be able to get that just a little bit extra pitch on our blade to be able to get it set and adjusted right. But there's no implement that I use that I have to retract the top link all the way into that 19.5 inches. So I figured that this being 21 and 5/8 is going to be close enough. I'm never going to have to change back to my factory link in order to get anything shorter, because this one will go short enough, but then I'm also going to be able to use it for those other implements. So I ended up ordering this one purposely a little bit longer. But if you have no implements that you have issues with, then it's probably better just to measure your top link to at its shortest distance and at its longest distance, and then get the hydraulic top link that matches that the closest. So there's not really any instructions that came along with this. So I don't know exactly which hose goes where or if it even matters. So what I ended up doing was putting the banjo fitting on the end closest to the end that extends, and then putting the 90 right here above it so it could go over top of it. But my plan is to take the hoses and make them do a 90, curl them back to plug them in, just to get rid of the slack that's in the hoses. So you got all this hose, and if you turn it back like this to plug it into your hydraulics, which is kind of over on the side, it should keep your hoses from being in the way and flopping around. So if you turn this, so now that we got our links and everything hooked up on this, this still isn't going to be 100% ideal setup, but I think it's going to work out great. And the reason I say that is because I actually need 2 rear remotes on my tractor, and I've only got one. And this mower needs to have one of those ports in order to operate the sickle bar to raise it up and down. So we are going to have to use one of those. But what I think is going to happen here is I'm going to plug up my hydraulic link, and I'm going to be able to set my angle on it. And then where it has that check valve and stuff in there, it's going to stay stationary from that point. So I can unplug it and it'll stay exactly the same. And then I can plug my mower up to it and then be able to raise it up and down. So if I need to change my angle, then all I got to do is just pop the hose loose and plug the other one back up. At least that's the way I've got it going in my mind right now. A little bit later on, we'll add a second remote to the tractor in order to be able to operate both at the same time. There's a lot of slop in there, so we're going to put that bushing on there to take care of that. So we got this thing on here, and it actually took me a whole lot more than I thought it was going to, because the ball end right here is actually about a 1/16 too thick or too wide to fit where my top link goes. This is probably another measurement that you should take before ordering one of these. I thought that, again, a category 2 would fit a category 2, but it did not. The ball end actually is too wide to fit up here at this top link, so I did cut it down, and probably didn't take it just a 30-second on each side, and you know, it slipped right in there then after that, so it was no big deal. But now we've got it plugged up. We're going to start the tractor up. So now we've got all this thing hooked up. And the only thing that, like I was saying before, that I'm going to have to work on a little bit is I'm going to set my angles on it, and then I'm going to unplug the hose from the link, and everything should stay stationary because of that check valve that's on here. And then after that, I'll plug up the hydraulic for the mower, and then that way I can raise and lower the cutter bar after I've got all my angles set. So that should be pretty easy. So as you can see, I can really drop that thing back there a long ways and get that cutter bar angled up, or I can retract it and bring that thing way in, which is something that I couldn't do before quickly and easily. So now if I need to make an adjustment, I could just hook up that hose and then just hit my lever and make the adjustment that I need. Now, if I'm thinking right, with the check valve, I should be able to unplug this and everything should stay stationary. Now I'm gonna plug my mower up. As you can see, my top link is solid as a rock right there. But what a drastic difference that makes in being able to make quick adjustments on any implement. Like I say, this one is not 100% ideal yet, simply because I don't have two rear remotes. But if I had the two remotes, I could work the machine and work that as I needed while I'm mowing with it. So if I needed to make minor adjustments as I'm going, then I could be doing that. So that's going to be one of my next projects, is trying to get a second remote for this thing. So there you have it, our Category 2 hydraulic top link on our Kubota M6060. This thing is going to be so awesome, especially once I get to use it for my grater blade and box blade and my rotary cutter, because those kinds of things don't need an extra hydraulic hookup. And so I can make adjustments on the fly as I'm using them. So if I've got my grater blade and I'm at a wrong angle and I need to start taking less material, I can just change that angle on that blade and stop cutting so aggressively. Same way with the box blade, and also with the rotary cutter. It seems like when you get that thing leveled out to cut really good, when you travel with it, you can't get it up high enough to go out through the field. And if you've got a dip or something, you're all the time hitting that tail wheel on the ground. Well, with this, you can pick that tail end up as high as you want, and when you get to where you're going to cut with, then you can set that thing back down on the ground and level it out real nice. I'm looking so forward to being able to do that. But guys, if you found today's video helpful, I'd appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. If you've got any questions or comments or anything like that, leave them in the comments below. Also, if you're thinking about getting something like this, I'll leave a link and contact info in the description of where I got this. I did order this online. And that's one trouble with ordering online, is not being able to see it firsthand and just check everything out exactly. So some of the things that you want to look for are those measurements, like your ball ends, whether it's too wide to fit in your top link, whether it's actually a Category 1 at that link or Category 2, because like I say, everything on this tractor is a Category 2, but that top pin is a small size, and this was supposed to have been for a Category 2, but it's too large to fit that pin, so I had to put a bushing in there. So that's just things to think about whenever you're ordering. Again, if you've got any comments or anything like that or questions, feel free to leave them down below and I'll try to get back with you as quickly as I can. Also, I'll leave information for AgriStoreUSA.com down there. And make sure if you talk to somebody, let them know that you picked this up or you've seen it on the channel and you're thinking about getting one. Seems like everything always takes me longer to get installed or get fixed up the very first time. I thought this would just be pop it on the tractor and we're good to go. Again, this is something that you want to kind of take precautions and order the correct time, because I don't know how big of a deal it'd be to send it back if you did get the wrong one. But other than that, it works perfect. It's solid as a rock. When you stop the cylinder, that's where it stays. I'm super happy with it. So thanks for going along with us, and we'll see you on the next one.